Your talking head Ed here to report to you some interesting articles that you may not have come across. The first one I want to talk to you about today is an August 2nd decision by President Barack Obama to expand the war on terror in the Middle East. He authorized the use of air power to defend U.S.-backed forces in Syria, risking a direct conflict with Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, which brings an interesting question to light. Who are the U.S.-backed fighting forces in Syria?
Now there's new rules of engagement with the war in Syria, and the U.S. has said that they're going to be protecting their allies in the region by also being able to bomb Assad's troops. As we know, ISIS's main enemy is Assad in Syria, and now the United States, which is supposed to be fighting ISIS, is going to be giving them air support. And as we know from previous news articles that we covered here many times before, we prop up these problems and then we end up fighting them, and that's exactly what's happening now. And you should really care about this because it's your money, and for the very moral fact that people are being murdered and obliterated, and no one's even talking about it.
August the 9th in Toronto, a group of psychologists, actually the world's largest group of psychologists, met in Toronto yesterday to ban any role in national security interrogations. So in the past, since 9/11, the events of 9/11, we've had admittedly tortured people in black ops in Guantanamo Bay, and the psychologists are used to justify the use of torture. Now this actually goes directly against their motto to do no harm, and thankfully they've taken the big step forward to ban their use.
By a nearly unanimous vote, the American Psychological Association's Council of Representatives voted Friday to adopt a new policy barring psychologists from participating in national security interrogations. The resolution also puts the APA on the side of international law by barring psychologists from working at Guantanamo, CIA black sites, and other settings deemed illegal under the Geneva Conventions or the UN Convention Against Torture unless they're working directly for the persons being detained or for an independent third party working to protect human rights. The vote came at the American Psychological Association's first convention since the release of a report confirming the APA leadership actively colluded with the Pentagon and CIA torture programs. For the past decade, a group of dissident psychologists have protested the involvement of psychologists in interrogations at CIA black sites and Guantanamo, and moves by the APA to rewrite the organization's ethics policy.
Finally, the other story that I'd like to bring to you today is in regards to the EPA. Now, I'm sure you've heard about the EPA recently releasing 3 million gallons of mine waste into the Colorado River. This is a baffling situation. But the news that you probably haven't heard about is what's going to happen tomorrow in Washington, D.C. The EPA is holding a meeting in regards to the Clean Air Act and the effect of flight pollution on human health. And there will be several geoengineering activists attending this meeting, and they would like to highlight the flaws in the EPA's current stance on flight pollution as it regards to human health.
Why is the EPA claiming that 6 greenhouse gases emitted from jet planes are a threat to human health under the Clean Air Act, while doing nothing to address ongoing lawsuits over leaded aviation gasoline or the real health concerns of stakeholders worldwide? Cancer-causing heavy metals in fuels and their additives, and aviation-induced cloudiness. Or the definition of pollution is being perverted to mean climate change gases in what can only be called a violation of the spirit of the law. Despite great efforts to find bioaccumulation or biomagnification studies on precipitated aviation pollutants, none seem to exist. The EPA and Obama administration are ignoring the global outrage over the most visible climate change concern from airplanes: cloud creation. The EPA's claim that CO2 is a greater threat to human health than contrails is based on erroneous IPCC data that downplays the effects of contrails on our climate. The IPCC's last assessment of contrail radiative forcing only accounted for linear contrails, meaning that any contrail that spreads out and turns into cirrus clouds was not accounted for.
So that's the news that I wanted to talk to you about today. I hope you have a look at the links below and explore these topics further. I look forward to hearing any comments you may have. And I wanted to just thank Jim Lee and Max Bliss and the gang in Washington for standing up and speaking their minds to the EPA. I wish you guys all the best. We'll be following the story and wish you the best of luck. That's the news for today. I hope the day finds you well and you have a better tomorrow. Thanks for watching.